Use code ISC for 10% off a style and deck.
Disclaimer, Nifty has messed up recording, so for some reason my voice is much more louder than everyone else's, so you can blame Nifty for that, but yeah, sorry lads. Right, hello, welcome to Race Mushers Podcast, episode 3, featuring Nifty,
Hello.
Mark,
Hello.
and Key Piper.
Hello.
And myself, of course, Oscar. Bahrain, that happened, what, 2 days ago? Oh, actually, yesterday, my bad.
Yeah,
I have a point for
Monday.
recording, yeah. Initial reactions, lads? What were we thinking?
What a race. It was,
I for one.
I wasn't expecting it to be that good.
Yeah, good race.
Yeah.
I was always a bit worried that the new regulations would be a bit bad, that they wouldn't do what they were looking for. But I remember looking down at the start of the race, and after they'd just gone through the S section, they were all like side by side, and it was
Yeah.
it was like
especially like sector 2.
Or something. It was
Yeah.
I didn't actually expect them to work that well, and then
yeah,
we'll
for
get to
whole
it
race, I
later,
was like stressing out, like thinking like, are the new regulations actually working, or is it just like a faster car against a slower car? Like I don't know, I couldn't figure out if they're working or not. But I think I don't know. I reckon we'll see an Imola because Imola isn't really known for overtakes, is it?
Yeah.
Or like
No.
close racing.
Well,
But
I think Monaco's going to be worse, just based on how big the cars have actually got bigger again.
Monaco will be even worse, I reckon.
Yeah, that'll be the worst track.
Yeah.
Because the cars are like they're more like trucks now. Like they're very slow at slow corners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, imagine the hairpin.
So
should we do like winners and losers from the Bahrain Grand Prix?
oh, that's actually a shout, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some clear winners. Like Ferrari won 2. Like not much needs to be said there. Also, Magnussen, if he has.
Magnussen has it. I'd say Mercedes as well, considering what they looked like going into the weekend.
Nah, they're just lucky, but I want to say win. I mean, I guess a winner's in a way.
I don't think it was a win for them. I think they were lucky.
It's very lucky.
Say anything, I'd say they're better than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd probably be more midfield than they were, but like they were never going to challenge for a podium until, and I'm sure we'll get to it later, but until those final few laps, it was never going to happen. Like for them, and Lewis Hamilton was very lucky to get to where he was at the end.
Aside from Haas, who impressed you the most?
Jan Zhou. What debut?
I agree. I think
P10.
Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo overall, yeah.
Apart from the restart.
I was about to say, what happened to Bottas? I didn't see. I didn't see his on board.
Wheel spin was
a wheel spin.
But Hamilton both Alphas. Both Alphas are the exact same off the start. So
it seems to be a clutch issue. Yeah, seems to be like a difficult car to control off the start, but both of them made the most of it, didn't they?
Like, Guan Yu
Wheel spin just coincidence, to be fair, because Bottas isn't known for his starts.
No.
But I think Zhou was quite lucky again. I think he is better than I gave him credit for. I think, to be honest, when he came in, I thought he'd be like the next Latifi, and he hasn't shown amazing pace when Bottas was up there in P6 and he was wherever he was, like P12, P13.
Yeah.
But for a rookie, first race, new regulations, I think it was quite impressive and definitely better than what I thought.
Yeah.
But then you got to the race, and until again, we'll talk about it later, as I'm sure, but until those final few laps, he was never going to challenge for the points, and it was just luck again more than anything that got him there. And it's racing, it's going to be luck, it's going to be all that, but I still think that P10.
Realistically, he should be in like P13, looking for engine failures.
Which I think would have still been very good. I think we can't discredit him for that, because it was a good, decent enough drive in a car that I think is still, I think it's still better than people are giving it credit for. But I think that would have been good, but I think it's made him seem better.
Yeah. How would you rank the cars right now? Because I think right now it's clearly Ferrari and Red Bull in 1 and 2.
I think Mercedes is probably best after that. I think once they sort out the they'll be a lot closer.
The thing is, I would classify Mercedes. I would classify Mercedes as best of the rest, not like being third fastest, right?
I wouldn't. No,
like they're not up there.
I wouldn't say that. I would say they're in a middle
But
ground. I would say they're not near the midfield, but they're not near the leaders either.
Yeah, hence why I'll say best of the rest.
No, because I'd say
they're
better
clear of us.
McLaren or
Oh,
like McLaren last year. Which can we ignore them, please? Please, for the love of God, I don't want to talk about them.
And also with Haas, like, is Magnussen outperforming that car, or is just Mick Schumacher just not that amazing?
I don't think
It's just hard to
Mick
tell.
Schumacher's that good.
No,
Yeah.
I hate to
That's
say it,
how-
but I think
Maybe.
this is the thing you're seeing with these new teammates that are coming through, like with Albon, with Latifi as well, which I want to talk about with you guys later. I think we're starting to see that maybe these people aren't as good as we were giving them credit for. Like these people that have only had one teammate, where like we also knew Mazepin was terrible, but we thought Mick Schumacher was out qualifying him, like being so much better because he was a good driver, like mediocre maybe. But then you see Magnussen come in and he's an amazing driver. Like on his day, like P2 and his debut
Yeah.
in 2014, in that McLaren, which really probably shouldn't have been fighting for a podium at that time. So I think he's a good driver, but I don't think to see that kind of difference. And it wasn't, again, it was the same kind of difference between Bottas and Zhao. But I don't think that bodes well for him. And yeah, I want to lead that on to Latifi, but I'll let you give your thoughts.
Just to show how shit Mazepin was also compared to
Yeah.
Schumacher.
I'm so glad for like Haas because oh my god, imagine if they'd have had Mazepin, we'd have all thought they'd still have like a terrible car. And then
Steiner must be so relieved right now.
Yeah, I think from Mercedes down, it's really close between Haas, Alfa Romeo, Alpine, and AlphaTauri. I think those four teams are extremely close right now.
Yeah.
And then somehow, in some way, all the Mercedes teams have disappointed completely.
I was going to say there's also, yeah.
The 1 year I want like Mercedes to do well because I want like Williams and McLaren. Like I don't care. I don't like Mercedes. I'll admit that. If this like gets any amount of views, I'll get hate for that. But I don't like Mercedes. But I wanted them to do well. I wanted McLaren because I'm a massive McLaren fanboy. I wanted Williams because I like the team. I wanted them to do well. I wanted Aston Martin to do well. I like Seb. But then they've come out of the box and they're terrible.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing.
That
for me, the
McLaren
1 year that I wanted them.
Reminds me so much of 2017.
God, yeah.
Like new
Their strategy, I'm sorry, their strategy for starts on mediums went on hards. I'm pretty sure they went on mediums again and soft, something like that.
I think
Daniel
my
Ricciardo's
opinion
talking
of
about this.
It was a random thing ever.
Daniel Ricciardo's talking about this. Apparently, they just ended up using this as a testing session.
Yeah, probably.
That was what I was gonna think, because like they were never gonna get points anyway.
Yeah, so I might as well just like.
But what I'm hoping for McLaren is it's a brake thing and it's to do with the temperature, because you saw them in Barcelona and they looked good. They didn't look amazing. They didn't look the fastest car, but they looked.
We all predicted them.
Bahrain, this hot place, and suddenly they've got brake issues and they've got this and they've got that, and they're terrible. So I'm just hoping it's to do with the track and the climate. I'm really hoping it's to just do with the track and the climate, because I'm really gonna be very.
I guess we're only seeing Imola because Saudi Arabia will have similar climate. So.
For an aerodynamic standpoint, I think one of the reasons people mentioned it didn't have the porpoising issue was because maybe don't actually have enough downforce comes from the ground effect at all.
I think it was just to do with the. I think they probably just decided a higher ride height was worth it, and they've not invested in other solutions.
This is the thing with Aston Martin as well. Aston Martin have apparently commissioned a whole new car for the next. I think it's not this weekend in Saudi Arabia, but for the next race, it's going to be a completely different car.
Don't they have to keep the chassis? I might be wrong on that. They've got to keep the same chassis.
Well, no, because you can have multiple chassis.
But like the same design of chassis is what I mean. They can't
think
innovate
so.
on the chassis.
I think you're allowed to change it. As long as you're under a salary cap. Well, not salary cap, budget cap. I think you're okay.
Yeah.
But apparently they're going to follow Ferrari's concept, which will be interesting.
To see another car run with that would definitely be interesting. I wonder if it would improve it significantly, or if it is other things on top of it. Like that's not actually improving it that much, and that's kind of just something to take away your attention from the other technical innovations.
Daniel Ricciardo, what do you think? Do you think?
I think. I still think
it's only the first race. I've seen I don't know.
What I was saying, as you'd know, is that I think it's to do with the lack of testing. I
Yeah.
think, and I hope it is, because I like Ricardo. I think he's a good driver as well. I mean, he beat Seb in his first year, and that's not like Seb was good then. Like, I mean, he's good now, but like he was amazing then.
Yeah.
To come in and beat him in his first year in the Red Bull was very impressive. So I think he is a good driver, but I think the lack of testing has, because obviously with COVID, and that's what I'm hoping it to be, because I like Ricardo.
Without the engine failures, they would have been P18-19. No, P18-17.
Yeah, like
Which
there would have been
is
so.
embarrassing.
Well, especially considering how high they've been flying in the past few years as well. P3 and P4 in the past 2 years, I believe. I might be sorry. I might be saying that.
I know people are saying this Mercedes engine is not good. I don't think it can be all down to this Mercedes engine. Because you can clearly see I think in the low speed corners they've not got it right, and then high speed corners as well. They're losing loads of time.
I think it's to do with the packaging. I think it's to do with how the Mercedes engine has been packaged this year, which has forced the teams to adapt like different aero ideologies than they'd want. Which I mean, I've got no evidence to back that up because I don't know anything about aerodynamics or engineering, but that's what.
But yeah, it is also the fact that Mercedes, who like know the engine the most, they have like the most narrow body, whereas Aston Martin have the same engine with like the most widest body of like the whole grid, which just shows. Just goes to show in the race also.
I don't think they actually understand the engine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't think any other teams understand the engine. Like even Mercedes, it appears, because they weren't like they've been the best engine supplier historically, apart from when Ferrari have cheated. Like, so it's weird to see them not even be like the fastest down the straights anymore, which could be like downforce, but.
I was listening to the race podcast today, and what they were talking about is the new fuel. So now we've got the new E10 fuel.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Mercedes engine is not reacting well to it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a theory which apparently it's been disproven now that it was to do with the like homologation parts to do with the fuel pumps, but apparently that's not true anymore.
No,
well,
so
it was never
I
true.
saw that. Yeah.
There was a few teams actually had issues with it, so that's why the FIA like inspected all the cars after qualifying. But people were saying it was led to the Red Bull return. Apparently, it didn't. So we don't.
I just hope they're able to get on top of it, because I don't want to see like any of the Red Bull struggling. I'm not sure if I want to see them winning the World Championship. I'm not like a fan of them, but I don't want to see them struggling the way they have been doing.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the cars improve, like how quickly, because
I think the innovation will be quick. I think it'll just be like innovation after innovation.
Like I wouldn't be surprised to see like Williams suddenly in top 10 next week or this week.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then,
I'm
Haas
thinking. Yeah, because it's almost beautiful, like how different the design concepts of the cars are at the moment. You've got like the Aston Martin, where it's just thick, and you've got the Mercedes, which is the complete opposite, and then you've got Ferrari with their like little hot tubs on the side, and you've got all these different design concepts. But I think you will start to see all the teams converging on one, whether it be the pods of the Mercedes, whether it be.
I feel like quite interesting to see, but like Haas have like the most simple design ever, but like the car's actually alright.
Yeah.
I think that could be something that could be improved upon, though, because I don't expect that is the best. Clearly, Ferrari have got something.
Like their design's like it's literally like a D for like my team like body.
Yeah,
Literally what it is.
The thing with Haas is they take a lot of parts from Ferrari. So I think the gearbox and the engine are from Ferrari.
They take as many as they can.
They've took as much parts as they legally can from Ferrari, and they're using it in that car. And obviously Ferrari have to build new parts for this regulation, so they've got the exact same parts probably.
But I mean, I find it interesting because this is the first year they've designed their own car, isn't it? Before they've been using, what was it, Lola or someone else?
It's not Lola, I know. It's a company starting with D. Is it Dallara?
Dallara, that's it. I knew it was like some Italian sounding company. I think it is.
Yeah.
They make the cars, don't they? But God, what was I saying?
I find it's quite funny that I was looking at the predictions from all the admins from last week. So many years about McLaren 4th.
We're so terribly wrong.
The thing is,
Alfa Romeo last in the lot of them also.
I think I put Alfa
I
Romeo
think-
last. I'll get mine up now.
I think that McLaren can bounce back from this. I think
I
they've
think they
got the
definitely can.
money, they've got the
Can.
people,
I
and
hope
I
they
think
will.
they've actually got a decent enough car underneath them. I don't think it'll be good in a lot of circuits. Like clearly, it wasn't over good in Bahrain, but I think once you get to certain circuits, I think it'll be better at the likes of maybe Imola and the likes of Silverstone.
Yeah.
Maybe at the likes of Monaco as
Yeah.
well, where you've got like these less straight even tyre corners, like but still more flowing kind of and that's what I expect to see
I'm just trying
from
to
them
get
because they did look good in Barcelona, and that's something that you've got to take into consideration.
The issue with Barcelona is though it was the shakedown test, so it's not even like you can take the performance figures from that too.
No, you can't take the performance, but they
Mhm.
clearly didn't have the issues that they've been having in
Yeah.
Bahrain. Like they didn't have the brakes that just didn't work, did they? They didn't notice that in Barcelona, otherwise they would have had new brakes. But
So
God, I can't speak for Bahrain, wouldn't they?
yeah,
That's what I'm saying,
McLaren.
like it's
Thing is, a lot of these. I'm just looking at the thing. A lot of these countries are still going to be hot because you've got Saudi Arabia this week. April we've got Australia and Imola. So
Miami.
and then Miami on start of May. Miami's going to be hot. That'll be one of the hottest
Yeah.
countries probably.
Mm.
So
yeah. I just hope it can cool down for them. It clearly doesn't seem like the really hot.
the thing is,
Seem to suit them.
see if this doesn't work out. Is this Ricardo's last year in Formula One?
I don't think it is. I think the fact that Vettel is still in the sport and it isn't like he's going to stop. I think the fact that Hamilton's still in the sport and he might stop after this year. I think the fact that Alonso is in the sport. I think he can't see himself leaving this
Yeah.
sport until he does something more. And he's not young, but he's
Yeah.
young relative to all of those. He's still probably got like another 6 years left in him
Yeah,
if he
well,
wanted to.
I think
Like-
if McLaren doesn't work out, Williams is an
He's gonna
option if they move on from Latifi.
Yeah, no, I reckon it's going to be like Williams is going to become the best car and he's going to go there the next season.
Oh,
He's going
Very-
to go terrible. He's the
Yeah.
king of like bad career choices, isn't he?
They'll
similar
drop
to
a
Alonso
thief
in
to
terms
sign
of career
this.
choices. Like,
Mm.
because Alonso went from the championship Renault to McLaren in 2007. Leaves McLaren go on to win the drivers. Then goes back to Renault, which is an interesting move. Then goes to Ferrari during the worst period. And like,
Yeah, and then
he
leaves
got
as soon as
really
they
lucky.
get good.
Yeah.
The thing is with Aston Martin, I do believe that in the future they'll be like fighting for wins and like maybe even championships because like they have money. Like eventually they will get there, find like the right
Yeah.
car. Like we've seen it with Ferrari right now. Like they've had a tough like 2 years, but like they are the richest team out of all of them.
Mm.
So like eventually they'll get there. But it's
Yeah.
just like how patient is Vettel, and that's
Yeah.
To
and
be
like
fair,
and
I
like
would say
how
they've got-
and how
they've
long
got
will it
the,
take for them to get to that point? Whether they'll be like fighting for wins.
from what you read from Vettel, he's probably one of the most detailed drivers to work with. So, in terms of pulling himself out, he's probably the best driver in the grid to get them out of that hole. To be honest.
Yeah, and of course, Vettel has got all the best people to work with as well. Like there was all these stories like over the break of like Aston Martin just stealing people of other teams, like stealing
Yeah.
the best people. Of course, they dropped the team principal, which I thought was a bit of a bad move because I thought it was a good team principal.
Yeah,
But
isn't it?
you've seen all these people go in there, clearly seeing the potential in this team, and maybe it's not had time to take effect yet because they came so late in the development. But I think it will be soon that they start to be able to use these people and start to be able to get over the front. And I'm hoping that
Yeah.
anyway.
It's kind of the opposite of Alpine because Alpine had quite a few people leave during the off season. Because you always had
Yeah.
I mean-
Prost leave due to differences.
They
with
did get
style.
Osmar from Aston Martin,
That is true. And
and now some fat money from BWT probably.
Yeah, BWT. What do you think of that pink Alpine? I don't,
I don't like
I
it.
don't like the pink Alpine.
I think
don't like it.
I prefer the pink livery to the half blue, half pink one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I actually quite like the full pink one. It reminds me of the
Of the
Mercedes.
what was it,
Racing Points or 14
the,
days.
no,
The
it reminds
Chasing
me
Point.
of the F2 one, the HWA.
Oh, right,
Racing
that one,
Point.
yeah.
Oh,
And I liked that car. It was a terrible like car in F2, but I love the look of it, and I quite like the look of it on the Alpine. But I don't like the like true livery. That's not my kind of cup of tea.
so
I'm not a
we should
huge
talk
fan
about.
of the
I
car.
think we should talk about the battle between Leclerc and Verstappen in the middle of the race.
I mean, that's what I was
That-
saying at the start. This is
was
exactly
fun.
the advertisement for these new regulations that I think
Yeah.
everyone was looking for, isn't it?
I found it quite surprising how easily Sainz and Perez, how quickly they kind of fell back from those two. But
But I
obviously
think they are some of the best drivers in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I think Perez and Sainz are both very good drivers. I think they're both very consistent drivers, but I don't think they've got nearly the pace
yeah,
of Leclerc and Verstappen. And I would include Norris in that as well, because I think they are these. I mean, there's three of them I put there, but they're the quote unquote once in a generational talent.
yeah.
Even though there's three of them, like
Well,
I
my
think that's the
ranking
wonderful thing about
of
it.
the
at the
young
moment, yeah.
drivers, to be honest, is like I have Verstappen and Leclerc in their own tier, Russell in a tier on his own, and then Norris in a tier below that.
Well,
Personally,
this is what I was trying to lead on to eventually. I think that George Russell isn't all we've hyped him up to be, and I think that's going to be very controversial.
I actually
But
agree
I
with you.
don't think. I think
Yeah.
he's probably at the same kind of level as Norris, because you see, like, and I'll explain myself because to the three people who watch this, they're going to hate me for it. You've seen Norris take on Sainz, and then Sainz has gone on to Ferrari and beat Leclerc. Of course, he lost to Sainz, but it wasn't far off. And then you've seen Ricciardo come in, and obviously he's had a terrible time of it, but he's been much faster. And Ricciardo was an amazing driver. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not shown it much recently, but he's coming in and he's shown this. Whereas George Russell, who's he had as a teammate, he's had Robert Kubica, who in his
My
prime
goat.
was an amazing driver.
Could be better.
But did have half a hand.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. He's like in 2018, 2019, whenever it was, he couldn't drive very well because he
I mean-
does that horrible body crash. And then you've got Latifi coming in, and as this is leading on to, we've seen Albon come into the team, and he's beating him just as convincingly as George Russell did. And that's
That is
going to be my point. You've got George Russell beating Latifi by such a wide margin, and then you've got Albon, who I think is a decent driver, but I don't think he's like at the same levels as Verstappen, or I mean, clearly he wasn't at the same level as Verstappen, was he?
I'll say, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like been proven not to be at their kind of levels, and he's doing the same thing to Latifi as, if not more convincingly in this first race anyway, as like George Russell did to him. So I think, and then of course you've had the qualifying where he was P9. Like
Yeah.
that is
I think it's also important to
shocking.
note, because although he did finish fourth in the race, which is a good recovery, Hamilton was completely gone from him during the race. Like before the safety car, he was nowhere
True.
near.
Hamilton was clear.
Yeah.
Hamilton
Yeah.
was so clear from, it was ridiculous.
And
But
I
also,
was
something else. You go, yeah.
yeah, I was fully on board the Russell hype train. Like I wanted him to come in and just wipe the floor with Hamilton. I wanted someone new because I don't really like Hamilton. I'm not a Verstappen fan. I don't hate Hamilton. I just don't like him that much. But I wanted someone to come in and just like be like, yes, I'm the new generation. You were amazing in your prime, but he's come in and he's done what he's done, and it's been shocking, to be honest. Like I was disappointed.
I wouldn't
Like
say it's
so
shocking.
much.
I think
I would.
Mercedes.
You know, like,
I mean, I think
Mercedes
Hamilton
had
is
a lot of issues.
I think he
Yeah.
did, but I think Hamilton is I do kind of hate to admit it, but he is one of the best of all
I think
time.
he's the greatest of all time, personally.
I don't
I
think
don't like him
I don't think he's the
personally.
greatest. I don't think he's the greatest. I think that'll probably go to
I think that's a debate
Senna.
for another time.
Isn't
I think.
he?
Well, we can get into this debate another time.
Yeah,
But
I think we should get back to.
Hamilton's always had the best car, which has been my view of it.
I think we should
whereas
get.
Thing is, I rate him as a driver, but I hate him as a person. Like,
Yeah.
his personality is reeks. I'm sorry.
yes, that was
I think
always my
we should
thing.
get off this tangent and
Yes,
get back
we
to
should.
Leclerc Verstappen battle.
Yes.
DRS seems very strong.
Yes.
Does it? DRS?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'd say so.
It's
'Cause
slower, mate.
no, it's not.
It was strong, but not as strong, not too strong in my opinion. Like it
I
was
think they
quite
find the
strong.
perfect
Yeah, you
balance
saw
of
Verstappen come very
Slower than
close.
before.
I think it was probably a good thing that was a bit stronger, to be honest. I'm not, because I mean, you saw the way Verstappen approached Leclerc on the start-finish straight, and it was it looked like Leclerc was almost standing still. How much the DRS and of course the faster car in a straight line, and the slip stream and everything combined, of course. But I think the DRS did make him look like Leclerc was standing still. And then you saw Leclerc, who has the slower car in a straight line, clearly, be able to come back at him in an even shorter straight. And I think that was just show that DRS is very powerful
here. Leclerc absolutely schooled Verstappen.
Yeah.
Completely.
I think it's good to see, because Hamilton's always like, oh, it's dangerous driving with this and that. I think it's good to see someone who understands that it's not dangerous driving, that it is just racing, and who's then able to do the exact same thing to Verstappen. Because I don't think Verstappen's a dangerous driver. I think he's an aggressive driver.
Yeah, like I really think we're in for a good championship fight because both his drivers are aggressive. So
yeah, exactly. It's not like Hamilton where he's not aggressive. He's patient and he's insufferable and all these things. Like, and Verstappen's just there, like aggressive, constant. Like, think back to Imola last year, or Brazil, where I'll admit Verstappen should have got a penalty. Like, he's very aggressive. Yeah. He's very on it, and Hamilton just wasn't. And whenever he tried to be, there was a crash. And yet we're seeing these two drivers, like Leclerc and Verstappen, and they're able to go wheel to wheel. They're able to drive aggressively against each other, and
like
it's been good.
We've seen we've seen thingy Verstappen and Leclerc, what, Austria 2019, Silverstone, like like their battles together. They're aggressive, but they're still good racing, good driving.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've been missing
within the rules and regulations, at least. So like, to the limit, of course, but like that's the whole point of the sport. Like, you have to push you have to push the car to the limit and be racing.
Yeah, and that's what we've been missing in F1 for such a long time. I only really got into it 2019 or so, and since then it's just been Hamilton. Last year it was Verstappen, but they didn't really race each other that well. And like, you'd have to go back to days that I barely remember to see good close racing, like 2012, 2010, where I only watched like the British Grand Prix. Like, I don't remember those times. You'd have to look back all the way to then to be able to find this kind of level of racing. And I think it's amazing that we've been able to return to that, or at least so it seems in the first race.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was interesting was, well, Leclerc on the straight, so he actually stayed in 7th gear on the straight to get the DRS on the next straight, you get what I mean? So, do you think...
So he didn't go as fast as possible?
No, he didn't go into 8th gear at all, just to get the DRS on the next straight. So, do you think there's also going to be a hint of mind games going on between the two now? Like, I mean, absolutely. Now got Verstappen's number?
Yeah, absolutely, it could be, but I mean, that could be to do with the setup. Like, you see, I mean, it's not the same, but on the one game, if you're running high downforce, then you might not even end up in, especially if you're in an automatic, because it's good at the game. You'll end up just being in 7th gear down the straight, because there's no point in you going into 8th, because you're not going to be able to accelerate any further, really. So maybe it was to do with that, but I think the mind games are on. I think these two drivers, they know how to get into other drivers' heads, and I think that's just going to add to the excitement, to be honest. And I'm going to love watching Formula and just lose their minds over it as well.
Yeah. What were your predictions going into it? My prediction was Verstappen winning, Leclerc second, and Hamilton third. So I got Hamilton third right, but I think one of the things Ferrari look. Well, they seem unbeatable. I think Ferrari might run away with it.
I think, in terms of the constructors, absolutely. I think they've got to. I think they do have the best car. I think they have. I think Sainz is a better second driver, or a better fit for the team than Perez is. A fit for Red Bull.
Ferrari definitely have like the best pairing also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say absolutely. Like Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, I'm with them all the way they seem amazing. But I think Verstappen is a faster driver than Leclerc. I actually prefer Leclerc as a driver, but I think Verstappen is that true once in a generational talent.
Yeah.
And I think because you saw it last year, I don't think Red Bull had the better car than Mercedes, because I think Bottas and Perez were kind of performing on about the same level. And yet Bottas was actually performing really bad, and yet he was still able to mostly keep ahead of Perez. But yet Verstappen, however controversial it may have been, still won the world championship.
Yeah.
So I think he is a very fast driver, and I think he's good on the tyres, and I think he's everything.
Also,
Leclerc is, but maybe not as well.
I think the gap between Red Bull and Ferrari is smaller than the gap to like Red Bull and Mercedes, but we'll get on to like the engine debacle that happened
in Bahrain. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, what was it like?
Perez...
7 milliseconds, not 7 milliseconds, 7/10, not 7/10. Jesus,
hundreds.
Well. 700. I went to either side. 700 between like the top three or something like crazy like that, and that is. Again, it's amazing. It's something you've not seen in a long time. Like I'm just in love with this season so far.
I think Perez, to me, he's had his moments in the Red Bull. Obviously, Baku's name a few, and then obviously his defensive.
Yesterday he looked good though. I think yesterday he looked good.
But I don't. Right. Overall, for the Red Bull career, I don't think he's actually been that impressive.
At the end of the season, last season, he was like getting podiums consistently.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he still got beat by Bottas in the championship.
Yeah, but in all fairness, in my opinion, I think that Mercedes was quicker overall. If you look at the whole season,
I'd say the end of the season was. I don't think it was the quicker car at the start or in the middle of the season.
I don't know.
Red Bull was faster initially, and then I'll say Mercedes was faster at the end.
Should we talk about engines?
Alright.
Go on then.
What is your engine ranking?
Well, I mean, it's got to be Ferrari first, doesn't it? Like, I think we can all agree on that. And I'd think I'd put Mercedes second to last, and I think I'd put Honda. In terms of pace, I think Mercedes I'd put last. But in terms of overall, I mean, you saw 3 of the Honda engines blowing up throughout the 4.
It's not a Honda engine, what?
So I think overall at the moment, Red Bull, I think would be 4th, and Alpine, Renault 2nd.
I think it's difficult to say performance-wise because obviously different setups and that, and it's only been one race. But based on that race alone, I'd say Red Bull have the fastest engine. But
probably,
that's not going to be
the fastest engine.
I think Ferrari have the fastest engine.
I think Ferrari have the quickest in a straight line engine. I think they've managed to get.
Because you think about it, with Haas and Alfa Romeo, like they're doing very well with their cars, and if you from the outside, if you look at their cars, their design isn't anything unique or special, anything.
I think one thing I would say is I don't think you can relate the Gasly failure to the Perez and Verstappen failures.
But in many ways, isn't that worse? That they've got these 2 separate catastrophic issues.
Well,
if it was just this one thing, they'd be able to go home.
They've said
go back to Milton Keynes and be able to fix it.
Was an MGU-K, which is the electronic component of the engine. So if they can fix that, that's actually not a horrendous thing. You'd rather that field now than later on.
Yeah.
But the Perez and Verstappen one is really worrying.
Yeah.
I think they should
I mean,
be terrified.
Very rare as well.
yeah, that is because it's kind of manifested itself in two separate ways as well, hasn't it? Like you had Verstappen where he said it felt like the battery, clearly it wasn't, and he had to come into the pits, and then you had Perez where his rear tires just completely locked, and he ended up
Well,
just spinning
what they
around
said
looking like he'd been hit by a red shell
his
Mario
engine
car.
cut out mid corner, which is why the car just went in them.
Yeah.
But I don't. I would say, like, see, if it was just Verstappen who retired, I would have said, "Oh, that pit stop completely screwed them,"
Yeah,
and there must have been someone with the steering. But it's the fact that both of them went
yeah,
makes
absolutely.
very
Like
worrying.
it's very concerning that
And it's
that
like
would
within a
happen to
lap
such a
of each
top
other
team.
as well. Within a lap of each other as well.
Hmm. I mean, I think the heat was an issue. I mean, you saw all of them like struggling with the heat. You saw whoever it was saying, "Oh no, you've got to stay out the slipstream. You can't attack them." To that might have been a standing issue, but like other cars as well struggling with overheating. So
Oh yeah.
McLaren struggled
I
with it a
think
lot.
Barber-
Hulkenberg couldn't fit one lap. Like his wasn't his brake? His brakes were way too hot, so he had to stay out another lap.
Yeah, it
So
was.
he couldn't pit.
Yep, it was.
Yeah,
And also
So I
McLaren
think
as
that
well.
was
Like,
very interesting as well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure,
clearly
like,
there's been an issue with like heating with these new cars. Or maybe clearly not. Maybe it's just the team's not designing very good cars, but that's the way it seems to me.
I think
Anyway,
that might be the issue with Mercedes engine is the cooling because lap 3, I'm pretty sure, or lap 4, McLaren were on the radio to Ricardo telling him he's to cool down the engine.
mm.
Which,
But of course they were following like very close. Well, not very
yeah,
closely. Clearly it was they didn't have a good race, but like they were following cars, so maybe they weren't expecting to be stuck behind so many cars.
hmm
Kind of.
well, the thing is, I can't
That's what I
remember.
can hope.
Well, you remember back to like 2020, so it was it Italy where also the Mercedes was the by far the best car.
Hmm.
Bottas ends up in traffic and he could just not get past anyone at all.
Oh, do you mean when Gasly won?
Yeah, when Gasly won, Bottas was in the midfield, couldn't get past.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
exactly.
sure that
And
was
that's
engine cooling issues as well.
well, I think that
Yeah,
was also to do with the design philosophy of the
Yeah.
Mercedes. It wasn't they didn't have to design the car to pass people. They had to design the car to be as quick as
Of
possible.
cars. Yeah.
Yeah, they.
well,
I
Alonso,
mean,
as
it
well. They
wasn't
were
easy.
bad at overtaking in dirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. Also, like,
I think I'm glad the dirty air issue's been not fixed as they completed, but it's been reduced so much
Mm.
because I've actually seen cars battle properly. I'd say
yeah,
is amazing.
Yeah.
it's that's what I'm saying. I'm in love with it because I've not actually seen that. I've never really had the opportunity to see like cars actually battling. It's always been, oh, he's gaining, he's passing, and then he goes off into the distance because it's always had to be a car that's 2 seconds like faster to be able to pass during my time anyway. So I think it is really good to see that they can actually come back at each other, they can follow each other, and that's how we started this off, didn't it? Saying it's really good to see. And it is.
Yeah. Um.
Something else I wanted to touch on is the hard tires. We saw Hamilton use them. Tragic.
And Russell.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, will they actually be used this season?
Well,
Well,
that
Like
was
in
the
races?
they
that was
were the
the
C5s, weren't they?
yeah.
Or C1s, I can't remember
Yeah.
which one.
No.
They
They
were the
were
hardest.
the C3s, weren't they? Because it goes C1's
Yeah,
hardest.
Oh no, it goes
Yeah.
C5's the
They were the
softest,
hardest
C1's
one.
hardest. So C3's the used.
Yeah.
They were they were the hardest possible tires they could be. I can't remember. I don't know which one.
I'm going to look up the tire
honest.
allocation.
Yeah, but they were the hardest possible tires. So clearly, that wasn't very good for the teams. But I think what's especially
So
on a circle like
we
this,
had the
but, like,
C1 hard, C2 yellow, C3 red soft. So they were the hardest
C1's
tires
fine.
possible.
Yeah. C1's.
but I
Like,
think once we start getting to other circuits where like
What I think's interesting is
that's different.
I think it's Australia. There's actually going to be a jump in the tyres. So I think
Jump?
it's going to be
What? So
yeah.
they're
So
like
it's going to
missing
be
out on.
C2 hard, C3 medium, C5 soft. They're using.
Oh, it's a gap.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Why would they do that?
We are also going to see a much more two stoppers and even three stoppers this season though.
I hope.
Yeah.
Whereas last season it was like mostly
Yeah.
one stoppers.
I think
Yeah, the
with
deck
tires,
was very, very bad.
Hamilton after his first pit stop was struggling with his tyres.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because they've reduced the tyre blankets temperature.
Yeah,
So it's now
like
70
yeah.
degrees.
and coming out the pits was.
Yeah, so it's now 70
that was
degrees
just
for
funny.
heater. That was very interesting. See, I think that was just Hamilton thinking, oh, I can just go now, when he couldn't.
Yeah.
But then, other thing I
Very
didn't get is,
interesting.
how good was the undercut? Like,
Yeah.
especially
was
with
very
Verstappen and Leclerc. I'm pretty sure Verstappen was
Yeah.
like 3 seconds back, and he made up all that time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he was told not to push on his outlap also, which he got annoyed about. To make sure
See,
he wasn't.
I
Yeah.
was
But I mean,
watching it.
whoever
Apparently,
it was saying that it couldn't have really gone much faster.
yeah, that's what they're
wasn't
saying in
it?
Sky.
Hmm.
What else can we talk about? Have we talked about Magnussen, really?
Should we talk about how mediocre Alpine have been? Like, I think this is actually a good point to bring up that they have for the past 2 seasons just been so mediocre. Like they've
I'd
not been anywhere.
That was bare.
They just exist. They're not like as bad as Haas and Williams have been.
Well,
They're not.
Our plan didn't work.
they finished
midfield.
P7, P9. That was their finishing.
And that's actually alright
It's
for
actually quite accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That well. But where would that have been if the 3
So
cars
that'd just been
hadn't
one
attacked?
finish.
P10, P1 point.
P10 off.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it is, like they managed to lure Fernando Alonso, one of the best drivers of his generation. I'm not going to say that time. We're not having this argument, but one of the best drivers of his generation back with the lure of a championship winning car with the new regulations, and here we are again, another season where they've not taken a step forward. I don't think they've taken a step back like they had last season. But
honestly,
they've not progressed.
They should have. I think what they're doing is they're going to use Alonso to develop the car, and surely next season Piastri comes into that seat.
As I said, like I think Alonso wants to stay, but if Alpine are smart, they need to like get Piastri in, otherwise he's going somewhere else. They can't lose him. If they lose him, that's a massive loss.
Yeah.
Because Batman's got to have him.
And
even
Ocon
if this
signed a
was a
contract as
championship
well.
winning car, Fernando
Ocon signed a long contract as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's got a long ass contract, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got the same length as Norris.
Yeah, Norris got 5 years, doesn't he?
God,
I'm
Something like
regretting that now.
No, I believe, not believe, but like I have a feeling that when Hamilton retires for the season next season, like they'll try to get Norris
I reckon they might
somehow.
Gasly.
I assume Norris will want to leave McLaren if they keep being that bad.
Yeah.
So I would see it happen. I would definitely see it happen.
The thing is, I think Sainz signed a new contract today as well. I don't know if you saw that, but he signed a new contract today.
Has he signed?
Yep.
How long's that
Get
for?
up the details. Well, I think
I bet
that's
he
the seen things.
Contract.
So I'll just look through some articles.
12 hours.
Oh, he's in the middle of a new contract. He's on the verge of a new contract. Not, he's got one. He's not. Well, yes. Some people are reporting he's signed a new deal. Some are saying
He's close. He's close. Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah, which I think is a good deal from Ferrari.
An understandable decision. Sainz and Leclerc look very good together.
Yeah. I don't see who else would have that spot though. So like,
yeah,
I don't mind them continuing this big contract.
Kevin Magnussen, how long do you think he's going to stay in that house?
If he keeps performing like this, they can't drop. Like P5 in his debut race back. Like that's just class performance.
The thing is, we've got like Portishear. I can't say his name right. You know the guy I'm talking about, the F2 Portishear.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
He's going to be coming up soon. Who else can be coming up from F2?
I mean, he's not had a good start to the F2 season, was he? It might be wrong.
No, I'll get the F2 results
What?
now.
But
what?
I think there was. God, I was watching this just the other day. I can't remember who did well. Let me just have a quick look at the F2 standings. I mean, there was some absolutely shocking driving standards. I actually know Pasher is leading.
Yeah, sure.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Liam,
He got
he
nothing in the, he got
Liam
nothing
Lawson
in the
as
sprint
well.
because he got spam.
Liam Lawson as well. He's going to be coming up soon.
And you'll be Vips as well. I mean,
Yeah.
both of them. I mean, Vips not a Red Bull Junior anymore. I was sorry we didn't have the Red Bull livery on this car. Which I think is shocking because I think he was better than some of the other Red
Wasn't
Bull
there
ones.
a thing with Roy Nissany?
I've
not saw this.
Don't get me started on Roy Nissany. Let me.
Isn't he really old for F2?
Yeah, he is. He's like He was that into the Asian bloke.
I forgot. Wasn't he in Formula One as well? Or am I thinking of
No.
somebody else? No, I'm thinking of Brendan Hartley. I'm thinking of Brendan Hartley.
Nissany did some testing last season, though. I can't remember for Williams.
Which I thought was stupid. Like, just give the proper drivers the full time.
I didn't understand.
Let me try and find this Nini. Like, I'll try and send it so you can have a look. But that was. We've moved on to F2 now. Clearly, that was shocking driving. I don't think I've ever seen.
Very.
Him himself. Like, it was all over the track, all over everything. He actually span round Richard Shaw. I think
I'm pretty sure someone, an F2 driver on Twitter, said he should lose his license.
He should lose his license. That was actually shocking. Maybe not lose, but he should get.
Should get a reprimand.
Yeah.
Trying to find it. Was it? Am I getting confused? Maybe it wasn't Manini. Maybe wait, it was the Israeli one, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm not great with F2.
I'm getting confused now. F2 Bahrain bad driving. Here we are. Roy Nissany, not Manini. That was it. Roy Nissany. He was the one who did the testing. Not Manini. God, I'm not doing very well tonight. Share. I'll put this in the chat for you.
I think as well, moving away from F2, did you hear, like, do you think
Nissany is now scrapping with Sargent?
Do you notice that there was a lot of mistakes from the commentary? So like, they're calling like Mick Schumacher Michael Schumacher.
I did notice that, but
and
I
then
don't
the
think...
thing with Zhou Guanzhou that we have to call him, we'll call him Zhou Guanzhou now.
Well, that's because
Zhou
Guanyu.
It's Zhou Guanyu, not.
Yeah,
I was thinking about this yesterday. I don't know why it's the other way around, like on the what do you call it?
Because Zhou is
the graphics.
Zhou is his surname. No.
Zhou just first name. That's the thing.
Zhou is his surname. It's because.
Yeah, but you say the surname first. That's how it is.
Like Asian names, they usually have the surname first.
You know what should
I was. You go.
See the new graphics.
I didn't like
them.
I don't mind
them. Nice,
but what I read was we haven't yet seen like from for the whole weekend actually like the onboard like telemetry with like you know like the speed and shit like on the onboard like.
I thought there was a lot of glitches as well with it.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, there was. I was actually going to talk about the broadcasting. A lot of times they're just like saying like wrong gaps. Like, a lot of times they're just showing the gap between Bottas and Zhou for no reason when we're like 20 seconds apart. Same with Verstappen and Hamilton when like Verstappen was like chasing down somewhere else.
Along, weren't they?
Yeah.
Which I think is.
It was saying like, oh yeah, battle for P3, 20-second difference when like Verstappen was like behind like signs of someone.
Alright. That was for like.
There's a lot of mistakes going on.
It's not one, is it? But like, we can just hope they're getting on top of it. It's new graphics. I'm sure they didn't adjust to them very well when the last graphics came in. I'm sure it'll probably take a few races, and then we'll love them.
Yeah, should we maybe?
No, I do like them, to be fair. I do like the graphics.
Yeah, we've went for 50 minutes.
Need to get used to them.
Right, yeah, we've went for 50 minutes right now. Should we maybe talk about our predictions for Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Mine is on Verstappen.
can I just bring one
Yeah,
thing up,
Yeah,
actually?
go.
Going back to the F2, I was quite disappointed with Dennis Hauger, and that might have just been because of what the thing focused on. But he's like the F3 champion. I thought it would be quite good, and he's not.
Yeah,
He's
he's
really
the
disappointed
really
me.
young
He's
one. He's 18,
14th.
isn't he?
He is 14th, and he scored no points.
Yeah.
Dennis Hauger, which I was disappointed because I saw him. I was vaguely keeping up with the F3 last season, and he looked good. He wasn't dominating the championship, but he managed to win it. And F3 is not an easy
Yeah.
championship to win. And then he's come in, and maybe he had a bad race. Maybe he doesn't like the circuit. Maybe Ryan Sani decided he liked his rear end or something. But like, he's coming in, he's not scored any points, and
Yeah.
he's with a good team, I believe. Let me try and find if it shows me the team. I don't think it does. Oh no, here we are, teams. And then that's teams championship.
He is with.
but-
I'll tell you right now. He is currently racing with Prema. He's with the best team.
I thought it was Prema, but then I was like, there's no way a Prema car with an F2 champion cannot score any points.
Yeah.
It's just amazed me that the best team in F2 with the Formula 3 champion has not scored any points.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
even
no,
if he's had a bad weekend, he
It
should
is
have
a
scored
spec
one,
series,
surely.
but like Prema have shown for past ever since F2 was really created that they are the best team to race for.
Yeah.
I think they are probably the best to race for, but I think it's starting to kind of change the game. Like High Tech, I actually watch their YouTube channel. I absolutely love the YouTube channel. Like High Tech, they're starting to really show off the colours. I mean, of course, they had Mazepin, which wasn't great, but like they came in last year. They had Vips and Lawson, great fun on the YouTube, and they were very fast on track.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're starting to see this all the change in the cars with Kramer. Let me just have a look. They're in 7th in the teams championship. They scored 8 points, and that's only from the sprint. Like, they didn't score any points in the feature.
Yeah. Well, I don't
And
know.
like when you've seen the likes of Trident ahead, like I'm aware I'm rambling a bit. Like Trident, who've been terrible. Like, do you expect to see better?
I've got a question for you. So I don't know if you saw that Jamie Chadwick, the W Series champion, has signed another deal with Williams. Do you think we'll ever see her in F1?
Well,
I reckon she'll get a practice session. Just one practice session at a random track.
I
That's
was
it.
looking at something today, and it was about.
I'd love to see her in F2. But
well, I would love to see her in F2, but one, I'm not sure if she's good enough for F1. And two, I was looking at an article today, and it was saying about how she's not being able to compete in F3 because she doesn't have the backing for it. She's like in the Williams Academy, but they're not. I'm not sure if this is true or not. But they weren't willing to pay the backing for her to go to Formula 3. They just wanted to stay in the W Series, which is quite unfortunate.
What is the deal with the W Series? Like, what are the cars? Is it not like Formula 4?
It's basically Formula, like halfway between Formula 4 and Formula 3, I think.
See, I think that although it's a good idea what they're doing, also getting more women into racing, I think the issue is you're not putting them against the other top drivers, so you're kind of separating them away.
Well, I think the issue is
like, so if you go into like Formula 3, you can progress into Formula 2.
Yeah.
With W Series, if you win that, where do you go?
Exactly. That's what I was
issue
going to say. Jamie Chadwick, she's
actually the W Series.
a really good driver, but I don't think she's ever going to get over to Formula 2, to be honest. I don't think she's going to get
still young, but like, Yuki Tsunoda's, 20? Like, there's so many younger drivers now.
No,
it's going to be hard
fair
for her
enough.
to fit in. I think it's going to be really hard for her to fit in. And honestly, I think also we've got the Alfa Romeo testing drivers, Tatiana Sheck. She actually ain't done any like racing recently.
I mean, I think
Tatiana Calderon, not Tatiana Sheck. Tatiana Calderon.
That's what I'm going to say. They've got the only female drivers that are in that have recently really had a shot at F1. They've all been a bit bad. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to them. I think there is some amazing female talent, that has the potential to come
Yeah,
through. But
I think
looking
the
at like
most
Tatiana Caldon, she was terrible. She was like 20th in F2,
yeah the most
and she wasn't even with
prevalent
a terrible.
female driver. This is US side Stanica Patrick, who wasn't the best NASCAR driver, but actually revived her career near the end before she retired. I'd say she was actually decent. I think she was the best chance, and even then she didn't make it at all.
Yeah, I think we do need to. Oh, we don't need to, but it would be really good to see a woman in F1. But there just isn't really any obvious talent there at
Yeah.
the moment, and I'm sure we'll see.
And there's still like
the
other
drive-
talents available.
Well,
That's the thing.
I mean, when I
obviously
was
the
looking
thing
at
with
the, I'll let you go first.
yeah, all the thing with WC is it's just started. It's only a few years old, so hope maybe in a couple of years it will grow into this thing to
Yeah.
push them into like Formula 3 or Formula 2. But
Yeah, there does need to be that clearer path, doesn't there?
yeah,
It just doesn't get the attention. That's the thing.
yeah,
I mean, Jamie Chadwick, she's quite famous among the.
Yeah, but like that's
F1 fans,
that's
but-
just like the only female driver I know.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know
And
anyone.
and that probably goes for most people.
yeah.
Well, I know Sophia Flores because she kept on coming up on my Instagram. Apart from like Terry on the Calderon, like
Yeah,
they don't get enough attention, and when they do get attention, a lot of the time, like female drivers generally, it's quite bad. Because I mean, they're not like Sophia Flores, Tatiana Calderon, they're a bit bad. Jamie Chadwick, she's good, but like she doesn't have a path into it, and I think
Yeah.
that's something that maybe needs looking at. I mean, I was looking at this is what I was going to say before. I was looking at the Mercedes reveal stream when they refused to reveal the car for like ages, and it was really boring. But they had these young female drivers. I think there was like 2 of them or something, and it'll be like 10 years before we see them in F1 if we do. But like, there is this talent here. Mercedes have seen it, and they definitely were a good team at the time. I'm not so sure anymore.
Overall,
But, like,
this is an issue.
hopefully we'll see it.
Overall, with racing as a whole, it's such a close sport to get into. If you don't have the sponsors,
yeah,
because it's not like football
like-
where like football, obviously you can if you're good enough, you'll get in eventually.
yeah,
Like
like
you can get picked
Ronaldo.
up by an academy.
I look at where Ronaldo's come from. Like he
But,
was
like,
living so poor, and now he's the most
Looking
famous
at the current Formula
richest
1
man in the
grid,
world.
who's the drivers that came from really nothing? Lewis Hamilton,
Ocon.
Giovinazzi?
Ocon.
Ocon, yeah.
Yeah. And then besides that, no, really.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. Like Lando is probably the most down to earth person, and his dad's a millionaire, isn't it? Like, like Albon. I think where did he? Albon. Did he have like
Albon,
the
he's
time?
Albon's got a lot of sponsors as well.
To be fair, Albon had to look for sponsors to like help him get into like was the F2 or F1 one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
But like Straw's dad is literally owns the team, and Latifi's dad's a billionaire as well. Like it's not like I mean I wish I could have done.
It's just different to all other sports. Like for example, with football, like here's a ball, so they can kick around and you can easily spot who's got the talent. But with F1, like there's something like a select amount of people. Like you never know. There could be some random person working in Tesco's who has like the talent to be like the top driver, but because of like they'll never actually like get in the car.
Yeah.
Like have a shot at it.
I can go to like team sport on one, like my local go kart, and all I want, and I'll never get like scouted for a team. Like, and it's so expensive to if you want to buy a professional go kart.
Yeah, it's fucking 50 quid for like half an hour, and like most of the time, there's fucking red flags because there's like little kids just like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
That's part of the charm. That's the way
I fucking hate it.
I had some guy last time I went trying to
Putting an
get me
8-year-old
to
in the wall. Putting an 8-year-old in the wall. What more can you want?
I remember my brother went one time with
Should
it.
we possibly consider finishing this off with our predictions then?
Yes, we got distracted, didn't we?
Again, well, I think that's the best conversation we can have when we get distracted.
Add some like personality to our podcast.
So, I'll run through it quickly. Who's going to win the Grand Prix? Oscar.
Jeddah. Verstappen. He's gonna come back. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you. I think the Red Bull's suited to that track really well. Based on what it's on Bahrain, so I'm going to go for Verstappen. Mark?
I say Max Verstappen makes a little comeback and back into the championship as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Keep.
and then
These two have gone for Verstappen, and like that's what I was gonna say. And I feel like
Everyone
I'm not
has,
allowed
I'm
to
pretty
say
sure.
that anymore.
Yeah, I went for stuff as well.
Yeah, everyone has.
Right, I'm gonna go with. Let's see. I'm
Gasly.
gonna go with. Yeah. Yeah.
no
Let's
worries.
see. I'm gonna go with
No
Kevin
worries.
Magnussen winning the Grand Prix just to be different.
Ooh,
Okay.
that'd be great. I
yeah,
think
that'd be
everyone
great.
would love that.
Disappointment of the race.
Of Jeddah or of
Off
Bahrain?
Jeddah, who's going to be the disappointing?
Oh.
We're going through again.
Mm.
I'll say this disappointment because now everyone thinks we're sick. I'll just say Haas because like I reckon everyone now thinks for like third best team, but like they have an average race next race.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
I'm going to say. I can see it getting worse. I'm going to say McLaren. I think it's going to get even worse.
Ooh,
I
how?
don't break anymore.
They're gonna be even worse than Williams now.
I think they'll have a really tough time. Like, considering it's only a week, like it's a double header, I think it's going to be a torrid time for them.
I'm gonna
Mark?
say Mercedes are gonna be the disappointment. I'm gonna skip ahead of Mark. Sorry,
Okay.
Mark. I'm
No,
gonna say. Yeah, I'm gonna say Mercedes are gonna be the disappointment. I think that the circuit where they've had like all these porpoising issues, such a fast circuit with the corners as well, it's gonna be so fast. I don't think it's gonna suit the car at all. Personally, I'm sorry, Mark, for jumping in ahead of you. I just really wanted to get that out there.
I'm feeling like there's gonna be a big crash in Jeddah. And that's not a disappointment. Well, that is kind of a disappointment, but I mean, yeah, I think that will happen. Like street circuit, like last year, it didn't went great. It didn't go great. I think now someone will make a mistake, big crash.
Yeah, I don't think
You
it's a
get
safe circuit.
a good look to see like the dirty air with the new cars.
Yeah, but I think it's Jeddah's.
Especially Sector 1.
I think Jeddah's an absolute death trap. I'm surprised no one died at the first one, but
yeah. I think it is. I think it's a shocking circuit. I'm
We're
shocked
about
that
to make
it's on
it
the
fun,
F1.
guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before
I'm
we end
shocked
this,
that it's on the F1 circuit for like being in Saudi Arabia and the circuit itself.
And it's in fucking Saudi Arabia also.
Yeah.
Not even a track. It's in fucking Saudi Arabia. Doesn't make it
That's
better.
what I'm saying, is why it's out and away we go into.
Yeah. Before we end this, as you know, we have a joke in the admin team that we're going to buy a yacht with all the Twitch money we get. See if you look in driver lounge, I'll let you quickly. I think we should buy this instead. So if you can't hear us, well, see this. This is a F1 simulator in the auctions.
Nah, yacht still one.
We have to. This is probably the best things I've ever saw.
It's only 11 grand, like.
That's the current bid.
We'll use the fucking Twitch money. It's fine.
Yeah, we don't need a yacht.
We don't need VR. Yeah, have a
Do you
sit.
see Vettel post picture of the sim he's got
No,
outside, and it's literally the car. It's actually like last year's car.
Wow, we'll have a sim on the yacht. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point, actually.
Should we end it here then, lads? I think that
Yeah.
was really successful.
I've been talking for so
We've went for an hour and 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think I've single-handedly extend like the time of it just through my ramblings.
Well, this
Like
is
half an
this is the longest episode.
Probably is. That was like an hour and 2, wasn't it? The first one.
I'll check. On our Spotify page that we have, called just search for Race Merchants on Spotify and you'll come up.
I think the people who will be watching this will probably know. So yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I should thinking about that. So, Oscar, you want to close off?
Thank you lot, for listening to episode 3 of podcast. No, podcast? Yeah, of Race Merchant podcast with me, Nifty, Mark, and Keep Hyper. We'll be back next week, 2 weeks' time, after Jeddah and before Australia, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be.
So have a good one, guys, and in a bit.